My girlfriend threw away my childhood guitar because it clashed with her aesthetic. I said nothing, just packed her stuff and replaced it with a new one. 2 weeks later, she came crying. Her influencer deal tanked. And guess who owned the rights to the brand photos? I'm Nate, 32, male. And I haven't stopped shaking since I found the empty guitar stand in the corner of my studio. It's funny how silence can slap you. That corner's been filled since I was 15. My dad bought me that guitar used from a pawn shop. Beat to hell. Stickers on the back. Missing the high E string. I still remember how it smelled. Stale wood and cigarette smoke. He handed it to me the day after his third DUI hearing, said, "If I can't show you who to be, at least let me show you what saved me." He was sober 6 months before the liver cancer took him. That guitar was the last thing he gave me that lasted. So yeah, I noticed right away when it was gone. Cora, 28, female, my girlfriend for the last 2 years, was in the kitchen when I got home that day. She was making one of those TikTok meals where you fold tortillas into quarters and call it innovation. I walked in, glanced over at the corner, and felt my stomach drop. "Where's my guitar?" She didn't even look up from the stove. "Oh, I took it to Goodwill." I thought she was joking. I laughed, like a full, awkward laugh. "Okay, seriously. Where is it?" She turned then, hair up in a messy bun, gold hoops, wearing that oversized hoodie she stole from me months ago. "I'm serious, babe. It didn't match the vibe. We're going for minimalist." That thing was so nostalgic. I don't even know how long I stood there. My hands went cold. My mouth tasted like copper. "You threw away my guitar?" She tilted her head like I was the one being unreasonable. "Don't say it like that. I donated it. It was old and falling apart. Honestly, it made the whole room look cluttered. I didn't think you'd be this upset." Didn't think I'd be this upset? She knew exactly what it meant. She'd heard the story a dozen times. She used to joke that it was the only thing I'd ever kept longer than a girlfriend. I didn't scream. I didn't curse. I didn't throw anything. I walked into the bedroom, pulled out the suitcases from under the bed, packed every crop top, every hair serum, every influencer ring light, every aesthetic candle with unreadable French labels. I unplugged her pink PC tower. I wrapped her DSLR in the bubble wrap she kept in the closet for brand shipments. She followed me room to room, hands flailing, voice rising. "What are you doing? Are you seriously overreacting like this right now?" I didn't say a word. I just kept packing. The last thing I did was walk into the studio and screw the empty guitar stand to the wall. Just the mount. Nothing else. Left it there like a missing tooth. Cora stood at the front door crying when I set her bags down beside her. I didn't yell. I didn't apologize. I didn't ask her to explain. I just closed the door and locked it behind her. 2 days later, I bought a new guitar. Not to replace it. You can't replace that kind of memory. But the silence was too loud, and my hands needed something to hold. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. I didn't hear from her for a full week, which, honestly, was a blessing. The silence was clean. No ring lights flicking on at 8 a.m. No tripod in the living room blocking the TV. No passive-aggressive, "Do you really need all these cables on the floor?" every time I recorded something. The new guitar sat untouched for days. I'd open the case, touch the strings, and just close it again. It felt like trying to talk to a stranger in your dad's voice, but at least the apartment was mine again. Mine and honest. Then, a text. Out of nowhere. "Cora. Hey, not trying to make things worse, but do you still have the RAW files from the porch shoot?" She didn't even say sorry. Just straight to business. Not "How are you?" or "Can we talk?" Just, "Hey, I need something from you." For context, Cora was mid-blow-up on social media when we were together. She wasn't famous yet, but she was climbing. Sponsored by a sustainable skincare brand, working with 2 lifestyle brands, and had a growing YouTube series called Aesthetic and Authentic. Her words, not mine. We shot most of her brand content at my place. She insisted the lighting was better and the furniture looked vintage poor but curated. That was actually a compliment in her world. She would stand on my coffee table for the right angle, shift all my books into color order, yell if the dog next door barked mid-shoot. I once moved my entire desk into the hallway so she could film a productive morning routine by the window. The porch shoot she was texting about, that was a whole weekend. 3 outfit changes, a fake coffee mug, a rented chair from Facebook Marketplace she never returned. And I shot every photo, framed every shot, edited every set, and saved them all to my drive, because she always forgot. I stared at the text for a long time, then replied with exactly one word. "Why?" She answered within seconds. "Cora. The brand is asking for the RAWs. I submitted edits, but they said they want originals for their own team. Please. This deal is huge." I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the folder where all her shoot files were stored. Over 3,000 high-res images. Every photo she ever posted from home was taken in my apartment, with my equipment, lit by the cheap LED panels I installed from Amazon. Then I did something she didn't expect. I emailed the brand directly. I had their contact, Cora once forwarded it by mistake when asking me to proof a pitch deck. I introduced myself, politely explained that all brand photos posted by Cora over the last 6 months were shot by me in my home using my gear under the impression of personal use only. Then I said this: if these images are being used for paid commercial use, I would like to discuss proper licensing or, respectfully, request they be removed. The reply came in 2 hours later. The brand had no idea. They thought she had a private studio. They asked for a call. And that, Reddit, was the first moment I realized I might not just be the guy who lost his guitar. I might be holding the key to everything she pretended to build. The call with the brand rep was surreal. Her name was Marlene, late 30s maybe, with that practiced friendliness that's one part professionalism, one part you better not be suing us. She started with the usual, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention," then pivoted hard into the meat of it. "So you're confirming you took the photos featured in the Spring Soft launch campaign for Botanica and Company?" "Every single one," I said. "On my equipment, in my apartment, unpaid." Marlene went quiet for a beat. "Were you under the impression they would be used for commercial licensing?" "Number, she told me it was just for social media growth. Personal content," her words. There was another pause. I could practically hear her typing. Then came the kicker. "The images are currently featured in our product catalog, 4 landing pages, and a paid Facebook ad set. We paid her $12,000 for usage and engagement deliverables." $12,000. I hung up 30 minutes later with my heart pounding. Not out of rage, out of realization. She hadn't just stolen my guitar, she'd stolen my work, my space, my time, my trust, monetized it, packaged it as her brand, and cashed in. And suddenly, every quiet little moment I brushed off as quirky creator stuff was just manipulation. The way she'd say, "You don't mind if I just move this table, right?" while lifting it mid-sentence. The time she asked me to retouch her eyes a little brighter, and then uploaded the shot with number no filter. The night she cried because a brand ghosted her, then posted one of my guitar solos behind a voiceover the next day like she created the vibe herself. It hit me all at once. She didn't want a partner. She wanted an aesthetic she could live in, film in, profit from, and discard when it got inconvenient. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I poured myself a glass of whiskey and opened Lightroom. I organized every single RAW file into folders. I renamed every image with my initials and timestamp. I created a shared drive folder with view-only permissions. And the next morning, I sent Cora a link. Subject line: "Per your request." No message, no explanation, just the drive. 10 minutes later, my phone blew up. Cora: "What the hell is this?" Cora: "They pulled the ad campaign." Cora: "Nate, you're seriously ruining my life right now." Cora: "Why would you do this?" Still no apology, and not a single "I'm sorry for the guitar." Not a whisper of acknowledgement for everything she'd taken. Just pure, unfiltered panic. She called 7 times that day, left 3 voicemails, sobbing in the first, cursing me out in the second, and whispering weirdly calm in the third like I was some wild animal she was trying to lure back with a treat. I didn't answer, but I did pour myself another drink, sit on the porch she used to film on, and play the new guitar for the first time. It didn't sound like my old one, but it sounded like freedom. The next time I saw her in person, she was wearing sunglasses like it was still part of the performance. It was 9 p.m., and she showed up outside my apartment building, hood up, mascara streaked, holding a beige tote bag like it was a shield. I was in sweatpants, barefoot, holding my dog's leash because I'd just taken him out when I saw her pacing by the front steps. She didn't ask if she could come in, just said, "Can we talk?" like we were some broken Netflix couple at the midpoint of a sad indie movie. I should have said no. But part of me wanted to see if she could look me in the eye and admit it. She sat at the kitchen table like she'd never left, arms wrapped around herself like she was cold. The silence between us was thick with everything she hadn't said. "I lost the Botanica deal," she started, voice cracking. "They said there were contractual concerns, brand authenticity, whatever." "Yeah," I said flatly. "Turns out companies don't love being lied to." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "I didn't lie, I just omitted. You were always so chill about helping. I thought it was our thing. Aesthetic and authentic, remember?" My laugh was bitter. "You mean the thing you copyrighted behind my back?" That caught her. She looked up, eyes wide. "Oh yeah," I said, leaning back. "Remember that pitch deck you accidentally sent me instead of your manager? I read the whole thing. Every photo labeled with shot in private studio. Every line crediting Cora J creative direction. Not a single mention of me." Her mouth opened, closed. "Then, I was going to tell you. I just needed to secure the deal first." "Right," I said. "Because it's not manipulation if it's for a good cause." She broke then, really broke. Started crying, ugly crying. Not cute influencer tears, but actual shaking, gasping sobs. "I messed everything up," she whispered. I panicked when you kicked me out. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. And then you ignored me. And I lost the campaign, and now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I didn't feel anything. Not pity, not rage, just tired. You threw out the one thing in this apartment that mattered to me, I said quietly. And when I didn't scream or fight, you thought you'd won. But you didn't just lose a deal, Cora. You lost me. She stared at me through smeared eyeliner. I miss you. I nodded. I believe that. Then I stood up, walked to the door, and held it open. She hesitated, waiting for some sign I'd take her back. But I didn't move. She walked out with that beige tote clutched to her chest like it could hold her together. As the door clicked shut, I finally exhaled. And that was when I knew the revenge wasn't the photos. It was the silence that came after. The silence where she realized she no longer had a stage. Update 1. Okay? I genuinely didn't expect the response this got. I've read every comment, every DM, every dude. I cheered when you emailed the brand. And even the one guy who said, you should have sold her ring light on Craigslist for $5 and a bottle of whiskey. Iconic. I wanted to check in because things have escalated in a way I was not fully prepared for. I thought the fallout was done, that Cora would go quietly, maybe spin some sad Instagram post about protecting her peace, or facing betrayal. You know, her usual curated victim arc. But nah, turns out when you take away someone's audience, they don't just vanish. They implode. Here's what's happened since I last posted. First, she tried to rebrand. Hard. Deleted half her Instagram, changed her handle from @CoraJCreates to @RealCoraJane. Started posting these long captions about being misrepresented, creative abuse, and fighting for her voice in a male-dominated space. She even posted a throwback photo of us, cropped me out entirely, captioned, I used to let others speak for me. Not anymore. People in the comments were split. Half her audience either dipped out or commented things like, didn't you steal content? The other half, the parasocial ride or dies, they doubled down, started messaging me. I got DMs saying I was jealous, controlling, trying to sabotage a successful woman. One guy literally wrote, let her cook, bro. Brother. She cooked my kitchen. Then came the kicker. Remember how I said she filmed almost everything in my apartment? Well, apparently she used a few shots from the porch shoot as her LinkedIn banner. Professional portfolio. Site header. Full public branding. Guess what I still own? All the IP rights. So yeah, I sent another polite but firm email to her newest affiliate sponsor, an eco-cleaning brand. I attached the usage logs, metadata, the dated lease confirming the address where the shots were taken, and a simple note. These images are used without license or credit. Please remove them or discuss terms. 2 days later, their marketing director emailed me back. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. The photos have been removed and we're reassessing our partnership. Another domino down. And just to be petty, but like poetically petty, I updated my own small portfolio site. Nothing major. Just a clean photography tab, showcasing my work. Titled it, Aesthetic and Authentic, The Originals. No commentary, just raw proof of where the magic really happened. The response? Let's just say a few of her old sponsors found me. This isn't about clout. I'm not trying to go viral. I don't want fame. But some of you said something that stuck with me. She didn't just cross a boundary, she built her empire on your silence. Well, I'm not silent anymore, and she's out of tricks. More soon? Because, oh Reddit, this isn't over yet. Cora's meltdown went public 3 days after the update. She went live. On Instagram, crying. Not the cute kind either. This was full-on swollen eyes, messy hair, pacing in a dimly lit room chaos. I wouldn't have even known it was happening if my buddy Luis hadn't texted me, Bro, your ex is spiraling on IG. Grab popcorn. So I tuned in. And holy hell, she started by saying she was being persecuted by someone she used to trust, that she was just trying to create beauty in a world that profits from cruelty. She never used my name, but the subtext was so obvious it might as well have been a subpoena. Then she claimed, and I'm not making this up, that I had manipulated her into letting me shoot for free, and that I was now weaponizing her vulnerability to destroy her livelihood. I actually laughed out loud. She said weaponize like she didn't literally throw out a dead man's guitar because it didn't match her vibe. But here's where it got twisted. People started turning on her. Hard. The comments went from, stay strong queen, to, wait, wasn't that porch shoot copyrighted? To, you stole his dad's guitar and you're crying over sponsorships? It spiraled so fast. Then, the real cherry on top. Someone posted my version of the story to Twitter. Not just a repost. They made a thread. Included screenshots from her now-deleted captions, side-by-side shots of her brand portfolio versus my website, even pulled a clip from one of her YouTube videos where my reflection is clearly visible in the glass door behind the camera. It went viral, and suddenly the narrative wasn't hers anymore. It was ours. Except I wasn't the villain in this version. I was the quiet guy whose dad died and left him a beat-up guitar. The guy who supported his girlfriend's dreams, shot her content, gave her space, and got discarded like a set prop. The guy who said nothing until she gave him every reason to say something. So yeah, the influencer house of cards started crumbling. Brands pulled out. Collabs got postponed. Her follower count started dropping like stock in a failed crypto coin. But the moment that really got me, she texted me at 2:14 a.m. Cora, they're calling me a fraud. Cora, please, can we talk? I stared at the screen for a long time. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a photo. Just one. It was me, sitting on the porch, new guitar in hand, coffee mug beside me. No hashtags, no caption. But if you looked closely, you could see the old guitar mount in the background, still screwed to the wall, still empty. And everyone who needed to understand, understood. 2 days after the porch photo went up, I came home to find a letter taped to my door, handwritten, loopy cursive. Smelled like lavender, of course. I didn't even need to read the name to know it was from Cora. The envelope was thin, but heavy in a different way. That awful emotional weight when you know someone's about to try one last performance. Not for love, not for closure, but for control. I stood in the hallway holding it for 10 minutes, just staring. Then I opened it. It wasn't an apology, not really. It was a 4-page monologue about how she lost herself in the branding, how she only wanted to be admired, and how being with someone as grounded as me made her feel safe, until it made her feel small. She wrote that sentence twice. Safe, until it made her feel small. She also admitted that she panicked after the guitar incident, claimed she thought if she could just declutter enough, she could find clarity. Declutter, that's what she called it. Throwing away the one thing I kept from my father. She ended the letter with a list, literally bullet points, of things she was willing to do to fix this. It read like a PR recovery checklist. Therapy, public apology post, take down any content I still felt was too close, offer me creative credit retroactively. Oh, and she added, maybe we can even collaborate again someday. People love a redemption arc. That was the moment something in me just snapped, because she still didn't get it. This wasn't a PR crisis, it was my life. So I did what she never thought I'd do. I dropped the rest. Remember those porch photos? The ones she used everywhere? Well, what I didn't mention before is that she signed a basic photo release form when we first started shooting together. A dumb little template I found online. At the time, it felt like overkill. She'd rolled her eyes, said, "Babe, it's not that serious," and signed it anyway. It was dated, it was clear, and it granted me full control over distribution. So I uploaded them, not to any shady site, just a clean, simple photo licensing platform. Marked them for editorial use only. No branding, no resale. But I left a note on the listing. Captured in Austin, Texas. Photographer retains full rights. All usage must credit Nate Harper. Within 48 hours, they were everywhere. Stock articles, a guitar blog, a magazine cover for a piece titled The Human Cost of Influence. And on every single one, my name, not hers. Cora didn't call after that. She showed up, bang on my door, 11 p.m., screaming through tears, full-on meltdown mode. She said I was humiliating her, said I'd turned her private pain into public humiliation. I didn't open the door. I just stood behind it listening. Then I said, loud enough for her to hear, "You built your brand on lies and my silence. You don't get to be the victim now that the truth has a name," she screamed. Something about lawyers, something about betrayal, but eventually the footsteps faded, and I was left in silence again. This time, it felt like peace. Update 2. Okay, so I didn't think I'd need to post again, but some of you asked for closure. And honestly, after what just happened, I think I need it too. Let's start here. Cora went quiet after that night outside my door. For almost 3 weeks, not a peep. No texts, no DMS, not even subtweets. It was like she ghosted the entire internet. And I'll admit, I started to feel weirdly bad. Not regret exactly. Just that lingering guilt you get when you stop being the doormat and people call you cold for walking away with dignity. Then, last Saturday, I got a ping from an old mutual friend, Emily. Emily used to do Cora's makeup for shoots. She's one of the few people in that circle who was always cool to me. Real, unfiltered, didn't buy the brand boss babe act. Emily sent me a screenshot. Cora had posted on a new account, at TrueCoraJ. Bio read, unfiltered, unbranded, unapologetic. Already had 11,000 followers. But the caption said it all. Sometimes the people you love the most use your lowest moments to rewrite history. But I'm done letting others tell my story. If you want the truth, ask me directly. She even tagged me. She tagged me. I stared at that post like it was a threat wrapped in self-pity, like she was daring me to engage, to fight. but I didn't reply. I didn't share it. I just clicked the link in her bio, and it took me to a podcast. Yep, a brand new, unlisted podcast. First episode, The One Who Tried to Silence Me. You think I didn't listen? Please? She spent 42 minutes weaving a narrative so tangled, even I almost forgot what actually happened. Claimed I started controlling her content. That I demanded credit because I couldn't handle her success. That I was deeply insecure about being with someone whose ambition outpaced his own. She cried, real tears, or at least real-sounding ones, about the guitar. Said she didn't realize it had sentimental value, and that I refused to explain why it mattered. She said I blindsided her with legal threats and tried to destroy her livelihood. It was impressive, in a way. She never directly lied, just edited reality enough to make herself look like the misunderstood phoenix rising from the ashes of a cruel man's jealousy. And I swear to you, I still didn't react. But Reddit? The internet did. Because you don't go viral for lying. You go viral for getting caught. Within hours, my story resurfaced. People relinked the original posts, the screenshots, the portfolio. A thread blew up pointing out that she never even owned a camera, that her studio was my damn living room, that her creative vision came from Pinterest mood boards and me doing the actual work. Someone even dug up that photo of my guitar mount. Empty wall, clean frame. Captioned it. She called this clutter. The tide turned fast. Again, this time I didn't have to say a thing. Her podcast vanished by morning. Her new account? Deactivated. I heard from Emily again yesterday. Cora signed with a reputation management firm. She's considering a complete pivot. Maybe wellness, maybe spirituality, maybe travel vlogging. Whatever. She can reinvent herself all she wants. But now, every time she Googles her name, she'll see the one thing she couldn't curate. The truth. And me? I'm playing again. Every night. New songs. Same porch. Still that empty mount on the wall. But it doesn't feel like loss anymore. It feels like a warning. And like freedom. I didn't plan on seeing her again. Not in person, not online, not even accidentally bumping into a tagged photo from someone else's story. I thought that chapter had closed, burned, buried, eulogized in the comments section. But life has a sick sense of humor. It was Tuesday. I was at a local venue, this cozy little spot called The Hollow, doing a small acoustic set. Nothing major, just me, a mic, and a loop pedal. Friends had been telling me to get back out there, and I figured, why not? One night, one crowd. No pressure. The set was going great. Chill vibes, solid energy. I even played a stripped version of one of the songs I wrote after everything with Cora. Didn't mention her, didn't need to. The crowd felt it anyway. One of those hushed, heavy silences that tells you the words are landing exactly where they should. I stepped off stage, still buzzing, still soaked in that post-performance high. Went to grab a drink. That's when I heard it, her voice. Hey. I turned and there she was, Cora. In the flesh, hair longer, no lashes, no fake tan. Wearing jeans and a plain black tee. No camera, no entourage, no glow-up glam. Just her. And for a split second, I almost didn't recognize her. But my body did. That internal jolt, that half-second freeze. Trauma's signature. She looked smaller. Or maybe I was just seeing her clearly for the first time. I didn't know you played here, she said, voice soft. I didn't come to see you. I was with friends. Didn't realize until I heard you play. I nodded. Cool. She shifted awkwardly. You were good. The song with the porch line. That was about me, right? I took a sip of my beer. If you think it was, then it probably was. She laughed. A short, bitter thing. You don't have to be so cold. I tilted my head. You sure about that? She went quiet. Then, I miss you. And there it was. That familiar script. That echo of a past life trying to sneak its way back in. I miss the version of you I knew, she added. Before all the... She gestured vaguely. Fallout. You mean before accountability? I said, sharp now. Before you had to sit with the fact that not everything you touch turns to gold, that sometimes it turns to ash? She flinched. I didn't back down. You burned everything we had, I said. For an aesthetic, for validation, for likes. And now you're standing here hoping a moment of nostalgia can wipe the slate clean? She blinked fast. Her eyes were red. Maybe from the bar smoke. Maybe not. I don't want to fight, she whispered. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm finally free. I walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Outside, the air hit like a new song. I don't know if she watched me leave, but I hope she did, because some exits deserve an audience. It's been 5 months since that night at the Hollow. 5 months since I saw her standing there. Smaller, softer, stripped of the filters and followers. 5 months since I walked out of that bar and didn't look back. And in those 5 months, everything changed. Not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, like a wound, deciding it doesn't want to stay open anymore. I started playing regularly again. Not for followers or brand deals, just for the sound of strings under my fingers. the hush of a crowd that actually listens. I recorded an EP. Nothing flashy, just 5 songs. Raw, imperfect, real. Titled it Empty Mount. You can guess why. It's not topping charts, but it's mine. Every note, every word, every scar. Funny thing is, people connected with it. Got DMS from strangers who said, "Hey man, I went through something like this too. Thanks for putting it into words." A guy from Portland said he used the last track to propose to his girlfriend. A girl from Ohio told me she cried in her car listening to Porch Light. Said it made her finally break up with someone who kept dimming hers. I didn't write it for them, but I'm glad it found them. And as for Cora, she tried to come back. I heard through the grapevine she moved to LA, rented a studio space, started a podcast called Reclaiming the Narrative, real heavy on the misunderstood woman rises from the ashes of male oppression vibe, but it never landed. The magic was gone. Turns out, when your brand was built on stolen light, it flickers fast once people find the cord. Sponsors passed, followers dwindled. She still posts occasionally. Soft focus selfies, cryptic captions, the usual. But now the comments are quiet, and I don't check anymore, because I've stopped needing her downfall to justify my healing. She took something irreplaceable from me. Not just a guitar, not just photos, but time, energy, parts of myself I'll never get back. But what she gave me without meaning to was clarity about who I am, about what I deserve, about the kind of love that doesn't come with a content schedule or emotional blackmail in beige font. So, yeah, maybe this isn't a revenge story, maybe it's just a recovery one, but every time I sit on that porch with my new guitar, sunlight hitting the mount where the old one used to hang, I remember this. She wanted to curate beauty, but I get to live it, unfiltered, unbranded, and absolutely, unapologetically me.